Hello and welcome back to the Rugby Wowos right here on Kawowo Sports. Today we are back again with another edition of the Rugby Wowos. And I have some very special guests. And first of all, I would like to thank you for watching the previous edition. And right now, I would like to welcome you to this edition where I have some distinguished gentlemen and one fine rugby lady. First, and on my left, the man himself, Isaac Kaparaga Kimeze, TM Sailors, TM Pirates, also TM National 15s team. Isaac last played a competitive game in his S6 vacation, but now he's a distinguished Kampala lawyer. And you know what they say about Kampala lawyers and multitasking. Yes, Isaac, say hi and we move on.
Thank you very much, Jose. Thank you very much, Kawowo Sports and our viewers. My name is Isaac Kaparaga Kimeze. Before I used to hide under Kapa Kimeze, but yesterday Union Yabikoze, I got to Twitter and all my government names were there, but it is what it is. They got the name the way it is on the passport, they put it there. Yeah. But yeah, like Joseph Mania said, I'm the team manager at Stanbic Black Pirates and also the assistant team manager for the 15s. I last had an active game, like you said, in 2017, of course with the likes of Orupot, Kamba. Kamba is now a coach. Orupot is still playing, he's holding fort. And other players, and I'm glad to be, I'm also a Kampala lawyer. That's the dress code. Yesterday at Nambole during training, someone saw me putting on a suit and they were like, hey, we're used to seeing you in vests and running around. Of course, I prefer the life of vests and running around the touchline. Yeah, so today I woke up for training and I also ended the day with rugby. So for the past 3 months,
that is Kapa Kimeze for you, a rugby man through and through. And on my immediate right, I have the beautiful Dorcas Mundua Asimile. She is the TM for the Uganda 15s ladies. She was also the TM for the Uganda under 20 ladies who traveled to South Africa. So just this past about 8 months, she has been to South Africa, Ivory Coast, Madagascar, where she saw no penguins. Dorcas, welcome to the Rugby Wowos podcast.
Dorcas is also a Pirates TM.
I'm also a Pirates TM.
She's also a Pirates TM.
Kimeze, thank you for fighting for me there. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Dorcas Mundua. I am the team manager for the 15s women's rugby, team manager under 20 as well, at least until further notice, and team manager with assistant team manager with the Stanbic Black Pirates.
Thank you very much, Dorcas. And on my far right, I have the man, the one and only two-time African champion. This man has won championships in Mauritius. He has won, obviously, championships in Kampala. I first saw him playing for the Cobs Rugby Club. Then he crossed over to the Heathens, where he has also won multiple things. So today we are in the good company of winners and Kapa Kimeze. So please, Okeny, introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. I'm Norbert Okeny, Sexton. I actually started my rugby career at Chadondo with there was a team then that was called Chadondo Tigers, which was like one of the junior sides. Then later I played actually for Box, the junior side of Cobs, for about a year. Then moved for 1 season to Mutoni Warriors. From Mutoni Warriors I again moved for 1 season to Rhinos. Then after that, that's when I went to Cobs. From Cobs eventually I went to Heathens, where I'm currently the captain of Heathens. At the same time I'm the assistant captain of the UG Rugby Sevens team.
Thank you very much, Okeny. A distinguished panel, as you can see. We are going to begin with you, Kimeze.
Okay, how many teams have you played for? Because you have played at all Legends teams and all Chadondo teams.
Apart from Pirates.
Probably the second.
Probably not all Chadondo teams, of course, because I've not played for Buffaloes actually.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for your car to cross to Buffaloes.
Toyota might be the thing.
So Toyota, you've had it here first. Do something for Kenya, and maybe he'll do something for you when the time for the transfers come around. But Kapa Kimeze, obviously everyone knows you for vests and shirts. But on this particular occasion, you're putting on your after-work clothes. And you're a man that is always a joy to watch, especially when you're doing your TM duties. And on one of those occasions, I'll take you back a little bit to the conclusion over the 15th season when we saw you reminding people that, you know, this is their turf, this is your turf, and you're there to win it. First of all, tell us, how was it winning that 15th season?
Of course, it was a bit personal. All the 12 teams that were part of the league were there to win it. There was a silent start that has been going around. How Pirates have been dominant at Kings Park. It's not that we're to brag about it, but it's been hard work to defend the home grounds. And it has been on since last year. I think the last 15th game we lost at Kings Park would have been against Cobs. That's in the league or the championship. That was, if I remember right. And they brought out that start before we played Ginger Equals on 8th March. That these two teams, they haven't lost at home, but maybe this could be the day that someone loses at home. And of course, everyone who knows what rugby is about, rugby is a bit heated. Of course, there is the brotherhood. We're all brothers off pitch and also maybe on pitch, which the old fans don't want to hear. Like Joseph Man really, it pains him when teams get together and pray. But of course, in this day and era of rugby, any small point counts. Anything else counts. So maybe you can go a league without a trophy, but during the banter we shall say, "Eh, as we are unbeaten at home, even if we have no trophy." You get? When there's also that sense of pride right now that Kings Park has been fond of having many new fans, and the happiness, the joy you see on the fans' faces during the games, more so after a win, it's really something to be proud of. I don't know if the 15 boys will be on the pitch know how happy the fans be. Now during the final, things were a bit tight. Hippos was taking us, and for this time round, we stayed on the lower end of the field, facing the fans. So if you can go back and see those pics, Kings Park was full, body to body. And there was that smoke, of course, coming from the kitchen, going through the people. So at some point, Marvin, I know you don't want me to say this on camera, but Marvin told me at some point, at the touchline during the final, he was like, "Go, bana bantu masa agenda bate Kawowo na," because it was really packed. Yeah, and having a final at home, it really means a lot. Okeny will tell you what it means. Because last year we played the final at their home and they won. Yeah, in front of their fans. So also our sister were like, it's now our time to make our fans happy. There were some people trying to be sharp and talk a lot of things.
Before we get to those people.
When Pirates had a chance to have a final at home, they're now saying, let's look for a neutral ground. And now also like when we're going to Chadondo to be beaten, no one cried for a neutral ground. So why is it that when it's our time to serve food, the cook is saying at Embers they will no, let's play the final at home. If we lose, they beat us at home, our fans drink, but
of course, you talked about that moment with you and Coach Marvin on the bench, and we have another special moment of you with Coach Marvin. This time it was on the pitch. My producer, please.
Okay. This is our home. Home ground. This is our home.
Yeah, of course. Now you see, if you can pause there, that gesture has a history to it. If you people remember Toro Sevens, there was a team called Toro Crest. It was bombing everyone. And in the semi-final, we played Toro Crest. I think Walukuba played Heathens as we played Toro Crest in the semi-final. It even rained. The game ended, I think, 17-12. But because we scored first, and they were bringing the game to us. Toro Crest was really hard. But you know, that season, Pirates was in the driving seat. And we know how Ugandan rugby is. They will never support the person in the driving seat. But before that semi-final in particular, many coaches came and said, guys, you know what? Go and do it for Ugandan rugby. Because Toro Crest had come for the money. So once we beat Toro Crest in that game, Don Mugabe took a pic of me and Marvin pointing down. And
we are
saying,
home.
This is Uganda. We have to defend Uganda ground. Luckily that year we also beat Kenya at Kings Park in the Rugby Cup. So we had 2 points still, and we're like, this is our home. So it has gone on to be something we do. And luckily, for the past 2 years, we have been able to do it at Kings Park. That we pull the rabbit out of that. So I always look for Marvin and remind him that we have to point.
Yeah, that we are home.
Yeah. But
Okay,
just a matter of
that's
time.
quite impressive. There is another man who knows about winning, Norbert Okeny. Obviously, for you, Chadondo is home, as they say. What are the other chants? Mungu ni wetu.
Mungu ni wetu, yes.
Yes. Of course, the heathens are relying on God for blessings. The irony, yeah, yeah, the irony. But of course, you're just back from the Mauritius or the Africa Sevens in Mauritius,
Yes.
and we could say that things went the way they did. First of all, tell us how was the whole experience of going back to Mauritius?
I think following a lovely tournament the previous year, where we were champions 2 weekends back to back, there was a lot to fight for this year. The pride and everything, but again at the same time, I think we went a more challenged side, having been affected by the upgrade on the 15 side and the focus being on the 15 side, and at the same time the preparation was less compared to for the previous tournaments.
Yeah.
But in general, I believe the boys were up to task, though we fell short in some of the games. A slow start in the first game, which actually costed us in terms of seeding, who we meet first in the quarters.
But sorry to interrupt you. Before we get into the whole tournament itself, we caught up with you during the flag off that happened in Lugogo when the three national teams were going off for tournaments and preparations.
Yes.
And we talked to you, and the small interview that we had with you, you promised that the team was fully prepared, and that you guys were going out to do your best. And if we may, we have that small interview of you promising the nation that the team was prepared. Norbert Okeny Sexton, assistant captain, the Uganda Sevens. How have you prepared for the Mauritius trip?
It's been a couple of weeks of putting in hard work. At the same time, we have tried to see that we have a more detailed data on our performance on pitch and key areas that we have to work on. I believe with a couple of weeks and the work that we have put in, we are very ready as we gear up for the Africa Cup Sevens in Mauritius.
Of course, you're just coming off that win at Kings Park in the Kampala International Sevens. Do you think that we should expect you to also defend the Rugby Africa Men's Sevens that you won last year in the same location?
Despite a couple of changes in the team, I believe the boys have what it takes. The boys exhibited a strength of mind yesterday when they were able to win the Kampala Sevens. And I believe that at the same time works as a confidence booster as we gear up for the Africa Cup Sevens. I think still we have a few areas that we have to work on. And possibly the next few weeks that we have before we get to the Africa Sevens will be more prepared by the time we get to the games.
Of course, you and Captain Alex are some of the most senior players in the team. How have you helped the younger players who are just coming into the squad to sort of gel with the whole team and become one unit?
Yes, for a couple of players, we have been with them for some good time.
Were, some of the few words, you're always a very positive guy, and I love interviewing you on some of the several, opportunities that I get. So you had started the conversation about,
Yes.
about the Mauritius tournament.
Yes.
So please, if you may, continue.
Yes, I believe you leave for any tournament believing you're well prepared. And what sometimes people outside of the block don't understand is all the teams are preparing. All the teams are bringing their A game to the tournament. And that means experience and confidence is what becomes the difference of the preparation, because we are going for a tournament with about 8-9 guys who are going to play their first Africa Cup Sevens tournament. You have the other teams, almost all the guys have played 4 to 5 tournaments. On their side, they believe it's their chance now with a change in the team, and that on their side gives them confidence when they are facing us. On our side, yes, some of the players will be confident, but there are players who will come in with butterflies and jitters because, of course, it's their first time on the big stage. And the confidence is what puts you ahead in now such games. But overall, yes, the preps were good. Of course, might not be good enough, but in general, it's always good. But the moment you lose your confidence, that means now you are on the back foot. You are on the chasing game. So, and with sevens, there is no time. You have 14 minutes. Out of the 14 minutes, probably each 7-minute ball is active in play for like 3-4 minutes. So, any mistake or any time that you slip up, you lose it.
Yes, of course, that was a tough experience for some of those new boys who are flying out for the first time. And, you know, we can only hope that they get better. And, you know, when under senior players like yourself and Alex and, you know, Etwao, and of course, I think 2K is also a senior player and Karim. But, okay, that's their first experience at that stage. But for a person who knows about first experiences of young players at very big stages, Dorcas, I've been on this platform several times and I've, you know, talked about women's rugby from the preparations that you guys were having earlier on when you are preparing to go to Ivory Coast and qualify for the elite tournament of women's rugby on the African continent. But maybe just to get it from a person who was there, could you tell us, first of all, the Ivory Coast trip? How was that experience for you and for the players?
The Ivory Coast experience was, I'd say, a lovely experience. And it's easy to say it was a lovely experience because we won every game, we won the tournament. So it was a generally lovely experience. We went that's the first time since, I think, 2023 that we had the 7 squad combined players with a 15 side, which brought a lot of, there was joint experience on both ends. Realistically speaking, the 7s players had been through better conditioning, stronger conditioning, so they had so much to add to the team since they'd been active with the series. And at the point when the 7s joined the 15 side, they just pulled out from Poland. So there'd been a lot of active preparation. So we had good conditioning, which was coming in from the 7s players. We had about 13 of them, which put the team forward by far. And then for the 15s players, there's something the captain always says, that this was the best time for the 15s players to play rugby, because for the first time in a long time, this tournament formed 15s players in an active league. Yeah, so there'd been game fitness, there'd been game experience. So the team was, despite it being a short notice, because Rugby Africa sent the information towards the end of Feb, then we started training off at the start of March. So we had about 3 weeks of training. So it was a bit short notice communication, but because of the situation around which the team was assembled, active 7s players and ongoing 15s league, the team was well conditioned, I'd say. So made Ivory Coast a good experience.
Yes, for Ivory Coast, personally as a fan and as, you know, a person who works in media now, there is that particular victory against Tunisia that I personally love, because Tunisia was the last 15's experience for most of those girls, and they played, was it November 2023, and they lost both tests. Then they come to Rugby Africa Division 1 and they win both tests. For some of the girls who are returning from the previous fixture, like you know, Tina was there, then also Patricia was there. For some of those girls, what did it mean to them to beat Tunisia this time around?
That actually meant a lot for the players. Not only the players who played in November 2023, but also the players from the under-20 team, because the Tunisia was their first test in South Africa last year, and they also lost to Tunisia. So for a lot of players, it was very personal. It was to finally prove a point. I think it was a bit of the struggle that the 7s have with Germany, whereby just that one win, quite honestly, was, I wouldn't say was enough, but it was it also pushed the team morale forward, because that had been the hurdle, you know, with the senior team who had lost in 2023, and the under-20 had the experience last year with them. It was very, very personal. So that win was It was like a mini final for us, really, I'd say.
Okay, before we get to the Madagascar, experience, allow me bring in Kimeze. Kimeze, for you, what is that one team? And I love that you speak a lot of Luganda. What is that one team? Yakufukira akayinja mu ngatto, whether be it 7s or 15s.
Of course, I would say there are two teams. Yeah. Though of course times have changed. I don't think the viewers now saw Okeny in Cops during 7s. There's that league where Pirates won 3, Cops won 3. Whenever would be meeting Cops, it was like, oh my God, it's more like Arsenal Man U. But of course, now tides changed. Now I think that one team now would be Heathens. Yeah, whenever of course we're going to play Heathens, there are jitters here and there, but of course all championship teams are hard. They're up there, but like you said, those particular games you see. Of course now for my case, when the local rugby calendar is out of the fixtures, I look out for when do we play Cops, when do we play Heathens. Is it a home game? Is it away? Yeah, because they both carry heavy sentiments. Wakubira kwawe at least oddayo mangu ewaka ne weekweka. But then wakubire huo omubbi abago byennyini bintu.
But on the international stage, Kappa, of course, being the team for the national 15s team, we are beginning with Kenya in the Rugby Africa Cup. And as you can remember from the years gone by, Kenya has always been that team. Whether they are at their best or at their lowest, we somehow snatch a win from them, then they come and ultimately win. We win that one battle, then they win the war. And now we are beginning with them. How is the team prepared to finally take that thorn out of their wound?
Yeah, of course, on international scene, for the 15s who have played Kenya the most, like you have said, it's that opponent we play thrice or twice a year. And I will say it again that these fixtures were well known at the end of last year's RAC. So by 2024, by the time the tournament came to an end, we knew, of course, rugby lovers would know that 1 would take on 8 and 4 takes on 5. And now Kenya was 4, Uganda was 5. So when Kenya lost that semi-final and they did the seedings, we knew that, we have Kenya up next. So going into Elgon Cup, we're lucky we had to play them Elgon Cup. Like after RAC, we had to play them twice. We went to Nairobi, we knew that these guys that were playing are the same people who are going to play in July. It was a close contest game. We came to Kings Park, they did it to us, but we still knew that these are the same people we have to play in July. So I would say that the 15s, the rugby 15s, the Cranes, have been preparing for Kenya since last year in July. And hopefully this year in July we shall serve a better meal.
So obviously when I was doing my homework for this show, there is a very good fact that skipped my head. All the important people in this panel, apart from myself, have been victims to that Kenya ale. As we can remember, we shall begin with Okeny. You had that famous Sunday morning encounter with Kenya in Mauritius. Tell us about it.
I think Kenya-Uganda each time is it's always a tight encounter. And these are games that come out to the mental strength, how focused you are, how you control the small moments. These are games that are won by the small margins. And well, unfortunately, this time we are on the receiving end. But having gone with a younger team, I believe if we can keep up the same spirit, the same fight, the same mentality, then in 2-3 years we would have built a force to see that they represent the country better and put up a better performance. But in general, I think when it comes to Uganda, Kenya, that's one game that you have to watch out for, whether it's 15s, whether it's 7s, and sometimes it pulls back to even other sports that are not rugby, and that's how big this is for both nations.
Dorcas, for your end, obviously we shall not go back 2 or 3 years ago. We shall begin with now. Okay. Let us begin with now. Let us begin with the most recent result of the Uganda Lady Rugby Cranes against the Kenya Lionesses. Most of the fans took it as a positive result, not just because the deficit reduced, but just because of the way even the ladies played. Whereas they may not have scored any point on the occasion, and yet in the previous occasion, maybe they put up 3 just to save pride. But this time the team overall had improved against Kenya, and maybe you could give us some insight into going into that game because it was the final game of the tournament.
There's something Okeny has mentioned about mental
Mental
strength of the players. Yes. This game is just playing with us in the mind first, is one thing I've established. Especially now, a lot of the team that played 2023 was playing this year, and also players from 2022 were playing this year. That's the players who done Rugby Africa Cup 2022 women. Then 2023, we'd lost both years. So it's now in their mind. So we just need to jump the mental hurdle, because I believe that, especially for this particular preparation towards this tournament, the conditioning was good enough, I'd say. It showed on the pitch. I mean, there was evident difference when it comes to conditioning over the past 2 encounters we've had with Kenya. So now it's to jump the mental hurdle.
Obviously, away from that whole Kenya debacle and whatnot, we also had some beautiful positives from that game. You could talk about the captain herself, Angela Nanyonjo. She was leading from the front. She scored here and there. And obviously, we have had multiple interactions with her. And she's a person that we can call a leader. What can you tell us about Angela?
Angela is an amazing leader, I'd say. The coaches actually did do a good job with the captain selection. She's been a part of the team for a while now. She's played a couple of games. She has experience in particularly 15s, which even put her in a better position to lead the team. Her vice selection, I believe, as well, was quite good. Her vice selection was Anek Patricia, who has also been a part of the 15 setup for a while. So the leaders who were selected for this were well positioned. And they've had an amazing performance through the league as well, the women's league, over the past 2-3 years. So them being selected as the leaders at this point was not even a surprise, quite honestly. Yeah, it was something we'd see coming.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Back to you, Kimeze. Norbert and Dorcas have talked about that mental strength. And, you know, there is a certain team that was told to go and, you know, work on their mental strength at the expense of an experienced referee. But we shall not get into that. Let us get into let us get into the Uganda, and we shall not talk about Uganda Kenya into details right now, because that match is coming up in less than a week. But let us talk about the mental strength of the boys. You know, they had this boost of a high performance consultant coming in. They had a kicking coach for the back 3 and, you know, open play also coming in there. They have incredible coaches, Fred Mudola and Timothy Mudola. You know, Leo Luambula. They also have Coach Marvin in there. But how are the boys mentally prepared for the whole tournament, not just the first fixture?
I would say the boys are very, very prepared mentally. Those ones who have been around rugby games and rugby grounds, you know, players say it's a war. Yeah? Alex Mubiru used to say, "Teri Msota Muto." And luckily, this competition is coming in just more than a month, but less than 2 months ago. We had our 15th season on, and I believe everyone on the 28-man squad they named, the 36 we had, all the 45 we started with, they were all very, very mentally prepared for this game. And of course, with the add-ons of the new resources to the technical team, they have really done a great job in shaping these people mentally. Next week is a war, and I'll tell you, because the boys are in camp right now, and from camp, the mood in camp is straight on. Everyone is locked in. We have 28 people and 11 personnel on the technical team. I think it's the first time it's happening in Uganda Rugby to have a technical team of 11 people and all well-suited people. And each of the 11 are doing a great job to prepare these lads. So they are mentally ready and physically ready.
Of course, what every Ugandan fan would like to know is, we are all asking ourselves the big question: is Philip here yet?
of brave hearts.
Philip of Brave Hearts,
I can
Bengal.
affirm that yes, he's in camp, and even before he went to India, he had a few runs with the boys. I think you saw pictures on social media of him in camp. So everyone is in camp, everyone on the 28-man squad, plus the reserves.
Plus the reserves, of course, the reserves coming from that 36-man squad. They are not highlighted like the 28 were in that squad. And of course, the wider squad begins the Rugby Africa Cup this July, that is next week. But for someone who has already played the Rugby Africa Cup, Dorcas, you had one win and you had one win out of 3 games. Let's not talk about the other side. But of course, in that very team, we saw the return of players like Samia Aikoro, who was taking on that number 15 role. I also loved seeing Mastula Nambos also playing that 15 role. We have seen Julie in that number as well before. But for experienced players like Samia, what do they add to this squad?
First, just the presence of an experienced player on the squad boosts confidence on the squad, because this particular squad had up to 10 under 20s on the squad. I think under 23s, because most of them between actually under 20s, I'd say, because I had 20 under 20s and then 13 under 23. Of the 10 under 20s, all 10 were playing at this level for the first time. So having all the experienced players boosts the confidence of the younger girls, because there's something they know that the younger girls do not know. So they set the pace for the performance of the younger girls. So having the older players was a good addition.
And you know, when you talk about the older players inspiring these younger girls, there are some specific, junior players in that squad that are very promising. One of them being Bushia Namutebi, who has filled in very well in that number 10 position.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the playmaking, pivot of the Uganda 15s team? To start with, the 9s that you have in the camp. Then obviously the 10 Bushia has locked down her number, and Samia also looks like they have locked down their number. Please tell us about that.
The playmaking in the partnerings or the combinations of the 9 and 10 have actually shown good results. Yeah, like you mentioned, Bushira has locked down her number, I would say. Too soon to say that?
No, she has, because
soon?
she's only 20 and she's
too soon, but yes,
way
she's
older than her age.
she's
in the
doing
squad.
she's doing quite well. Then the pairing that she has had with the 9 that's playing, it's been a good pairing. There's been good game reading. Yeah, and I'd say right now this could easily be the best team we've had maybe in 3-4 years, and the future is looking bright, especially the fact that the majority of the team is young. So if we could just keep it up, I see Uganda at WXV3 maybe next year and in the 2029 World Cup.
Yeah, of course, you guys ended up defeating the hosts, Madagascar, in that very dramatic game where you led and then they led you, and then you finally came back to win that game. Tell us, how was the atmosphere in that stadium when you beat the hosts?
For us as Uganda, that was a big thing. That was a big thing. That was the game where by the time when we left the camp into preparations for the game, actually the 3 days leading to the game, it was Tubafirako mentality. Yeah. Because we knew it was the game that would decide whether or not we stayed in the first division, in the performance division. Also because it wasn't going to look good to be promoted in that same year and then be the ones that are looking at relegation still in the same year. So we just you pick your battle, then you die on it. And Madagascar was the one who were willing to die with from the start. The energy, you could also tell from the body language during that particular game that the players were there to make their mark. And I'm glad that the results turned out that way. Now we're certain we're still in the performance division for another year.
Yeah, obviously, that single win that you had in that tournament means that you came out third.
Yeah, we're promoted to third.
Yeah, you are promoted to third. If at all you're having WX3 this year, then you'd obviously get into that competition. But we're having a World Cup that's going to happen later on in England. Yeah. But then on the other note, or on a by the way, finishing third meant you got yourselves an invite to a place that few only dream of visiting. and you know, and you went and just to show the magnitude of that victory, what it means for Uganda and you know, and all the fans out there. But
which place are
before
we
you answer,
discussing?
before you answer that, let us before you answer that,
But maybe
a place that shall not be named.
What you forgot to say when you talked about Bushra Namutebi.
Mm.
Let me look into the camera. Bushra Namutebi has a better left pass than half of the men playing in the league.
Please repeat that. That is yours.
That's my camera.
Mm.
Bushra Namutebi, yeah, of the Uganda Lady Cranes and Black Pearls. She has a better left pass than half of the men actively playing rugby in Uganda.
On the national team or in the whole country?
I didn't say on the national team.
Yeah.
I said
The
half of
men,
the men
men playing rugby generally.
You see, I saw numbers somewhere that we have 3 million rugby players. Yeah, so she has a better left pass than 1.5. Kawowo supposed to play the videos. Watch her sevens game very well. She can swing that ball, and with ease.
All right, thank you for that very beautiful statistic. And he was talking about Busha being an incredible sevens player. Of course, Okeny yourself, you're also an incredible sevens player. But now that, you know, the seventh season, the international season is almost, now that it is done actually, and we get into the local sevens, what are some of the plans at Heathens that, you know, you're the defending champions, obviously, and now you have to retain it. And now you also have the national team coach. Everything seems to be going well for you guys. Tell us about it.
I think it's good to see Heathens get up there when it comes to sevens. For the past, I don't know how many years, it's been that hurdle that has been on Heathens' way. They would perform on all the other Uganda Cup, you have them taking it. The league, you have them taking it. And most of the times when it came to sevens, it was either Cobs or Pirates. And it's good to see that players and the team in general have put their mark there, have put their hands there to be selected, to see that they represent this club when it comes to the sevens games. So far, preparations have been underway for a couple of weeks now. And I think with the Gorilla Sevens happening, Heathens is going to send in a squad to go represent the team. And I think that will be like a test tournament to see how far the preps have been and how positive and how every work has been from the side of the coaches to the side of the players, and also to help begin the mark of a better preparation for the national sevens. That's when they kickstart.
All right, thank you very much, Norbert. One thing to note is that we are in the presence of champions. This time, myself included. I can't miss an opportunity to pass in peace. But we are also champions. But for the bigger champions, of course, the Black Pearls also won the 15s league. You guys have been sweeping everything.
Black Pearls are performing well. Yeah, that is very true. But it's not like second nature. Like when you're Black Pearls, you're winning. It's second nature.
Fourth year in a row.
It's second nature for them to be doing as well as they are doing. So it's no longer news. It's no longer a shock. Next question.
The next question goes to Kimeze, and Kimeze, I hope you're more humble than Dorcas, because it seems like humility doesn't reside in Boyogiri. You guys know how to win and rub it in. But of course, for the national team, every fan is expecting that win. But first, there have been some concerns from the fans that maybe we shall not get deeply into. But for the playing staff that we have, the 28 that we have selected, how have the coaches prepared them, especially for the first 23 players, for the big challenge that is Kenya?
Like I said earlier, the players themselves have been preparing themselves ever since last year.
And if I told you, tell us your targets for this year.
Okay, so you see this through the league. The league was very, very competitive. If we are to go to the knockouts, you saw how all those games were being played, the knockout games. The final itself had to go into extra time. We're having players from both those teams that went to the finals. In fact, we have players coming from teams that were in the playoffs. We also have Brian Wandera from the championship side. Brian did very well in South Africa. He had 2 tries. He played 2 games, scored 2 tries. So I guess the coaches have really done a good job, a tremendous job. But then the players themselves who have put up their hands to be selected, they have done more than a good job to be ready. And of course, our target for now, each game is a final. This is a knockout tournament. So our first final will be played 6 days from now. That's on 8th. We shall have our first final against Kenya. And I will add my voice to the voice of, they said we are 45 million Ugandans currently, because per last year that was not counted. But I will add my voice to the many Ugandans that the goal is one: beat Kenya, meet the next man in the semi-final. And the goal has not yet changed. Of course, at Nambole, we shall be facing, one side will be facing Kings Park side, the other side will be facing Chireka, but we shall win from both ends.
By Chireka, I mean Chadondo.
Okay, facing Chadondo.
Because if you continue, you
Yeah.
end up at Chadondo. But obviously, you do not speak Afrikaans. But what are some of those famous quotes that our high consultant coaches have been, saying in camp?
Of course, the coach reminds people of one thing, that this is rugby. It's a game of violence, and it's a game played on your feet. So he keeps telling the people, come on, Timothy, go, Timothy, go, Timothy, go. So everyone knows next week is just to go.
There is another high performance coach who was here some years back, and they said that he came into camp and asked why all the boys were tense and why they were, all, not saying that that they are mentally prepared for the training session, but you could tell that they were all on pressure. And then he asked them, "Don't you boys drink brandy?" Calm down, it's just rugby. It's just rugby. But then most likely we meet Morocco or Zimbabwe, and that's how our draw has been set up. So either of those teams, how are we prepared for them? First of all, we played Zimbabwe last year, and that game was first disastrous in the first half. Then we picked ourselves up, maybe a little too late. But this time, if at all, we are to proceed to the semi-final, how are we prepared for either team?
Yeah, of course, the team in general, that's the players and the coaching staff, we have all done our analysis. We know where we fell short. That game against Zimbabwe was 20-22. That was the final score. And of course, everyone knows what's set out for them. And the plan is not to chase the game. Yeah. The plan is to be ahead at all times. And the players know it. To Basa Okayo at all times, whatever we do, get into the dressing room, leaving the hotel, get into the pitch. To Basa Okayo. We won't let them get ahead of us at any point.
Okay, for Norbert, now that the national sevens team is probably having some rest and they have retreated to their respective clubs, when do you guys regather? Is the program going to continue as the local sevens season goes on, or you don't have that information right now?
I believe later this year we'll have to go for the Safari Sevens. But for the rest of the calendar, that now depends on the management, the plans they have. Probably communication will be passed out later. But for now, the only thing to do is go to Nambole, get behind the boys, cheer them up to see that we are home. We have to see that we put up a great performance and hopefully win it, because a great performance won't be enough. The fans this time believe the team has been well prepared to see that they win actually. And yeah, we just need to get there, get behind the boys, cheer on and believe in them.
You've talked about the fans going to Nambole. Dorcas, are you going to be one of those fans
Definitely.
that will be at Nambole cheering the loudest?
Definitely.
And
They told Dorcas she's not a fan.
I forgot.
Yeah, Dorcas, they are
I will
so
be
angry.
shouting, regardless of the position I'm there as. I will cheer the team on.
You'll be shouting from the VIP.
But yes, I will definitely be part of the crowd cheering on the team.
Yes, but talking about your own international 15th season as the Lady Rugby Cranes, with the conclusion of Rugby Africa, and you know, on our calendar we also have the Elgon Cup coming up probably later this year. Do you think that this time around the result will be different for the Lady Cranes, or maybe to channel that question a different way? Will you be better prepared this time around? Because now you know that it is coming up later in the year. You don't have 3 weeks. You have probably 3 or more months. Will you be better prepared this time?
Yes, in the event that it does happen, because Elgon Cup hasn't yet been confirmed for the ladies, but in the event that it does happen, yes, we will be much better prepared. I mean, as you can see, each game has its progress. So by the time we get to November, I trust the progress will be quite good. We'll be better prepared, we'll bring better results. I choose not to speak any further on that game.
All right.
You can jinx a Kenya game like that in overtalking.
You may overtalk then they
Hey,
come for
overtalk
you.
and then you jinx it. But
Kappa.
we'll be better prepared.
You know, Kappa has been assuring us that some of these questions should be redirected to the local organizing committee. But me, I want to ask you about something that as a pirate, you know very well about. We are all going to Nambole, but that after party, is there Nigos?
That's a very compromising question, but yeah, of course it's Ugandan rugby. There will be fun if there's music, and the main sponsor is Nile Special. So if you add Nile Special plus music, what do you get?
You get
I know
time.
it's going to be to the fans coming out to Nambole for the coming 2 weeks. It's going to be a very, very good experience, and I speak this basing on what happened last year. It was a great ambience to say. Many fans, including myself, were happy to have rugby at Nambole. Of course, Nambole has been that stadium that we hold highly, in high regards. And now to have rugby at Nambole and having the fans at Nambole, it's really, really a wonderful thing to say. So I would tell the fans out there preparing to come, and those who have booked their tickets already, that it's going to be worth the 30k and worth those other prices, because me, I'm an ordinary fan. I don't know how much a VIP or VVIP would be. For the after party, I believe everything is in good hands, and details are going to be communicated where the after party will be, where we shall be bending backs from, where people with weak knees won't be allowed to access. All those things are going to be communicated by the law. Nze njagala ombuuze ku by'abazannyi.
Obviously we had that preparation camp in Namibia, then in South Africa, but what are some of the key lessons that we picked from there that hopefully the fan who was in Uganda, or the players, the young players especially, who are in Uganda, will look at and say, yeah, that player is doing something different this time around after leaving the camp?
Yeah, of course, we're away for 3 weeks. I would start by thanking all the stakeholders who made it possible. And I believe the players learned the most from it, because it has been a long, stretchy experience, from landing in the desert, playing in those hot conditions. That being the first proper, I would use test game, but not test game in relation to rugby, but that being the first test that the team
First
had.
game that tested you.
Okay, the first game that tested the team coming together, because the team has been training since Feb, but they had not really played against an opposition. The opposition was being themselves. But then we go out to Namibia, we're playing against a formidable side. Namibia has been a stronghold in African rugby. And then we go toe-to-toe with them in a 22-19 score. I take that as a win for the boys. The boys put up a fight, because in various times we were down and we kept coming up. We led that game. By the 60th minute, we were leading the game. We started forcing Namibia into funny errors. They were panicking. And I believe the boys now have the cohesion and the chemistry. They are playing more and more together. The next weekend we played Limpopo. It was also a good contest to say. I think you people watched that game. Guys were running the lines, the ball was working. So the trip has really, really been an advantage to the team. The brotherhood, you can see it on and off pitch, and it matters more on the pitch. These boys are stronger than the left. Yeah, they have a better game reading. Of course, results may not show it, but if you are to analyze the players, yeah, one on one, how was so and so doing this before this camp? Yeah? How are they attacking the game? How are they attacking the high ball situation? How are they clearing their lines? Yeah? How are they kicking for the exit, kicking for touch? Even the decision makings amongst the captains. I know there are people who have been asking questions of Uganda Men failed to put up any point in the last game. Of course, times came for decision making whereby let's try out our set piece moves. Yeah? We had molds that we mold Pumas. Yeah? The molds were moving, and these are systems that we had to what? To check out, to check in place. How do the boys attack the scrum at the 22? Yeah? Are we ready to defend the scrum in this area? And believe me or not, the boys have upped their game in those small departments.
I really hope you're in position to answer this next question, but are we ready to defend the mall? Because you've talked about attacking with the mall, but are we ready to defend it? It has been a persistent problem, not only for the men's, but also for the women's. We saw it against South Africa and Kenya. The mall has been a problem for Ugandan rugby. Are we prepared for that?
Yeah, like you said, it has been a problem for Ugandan rugby, but you can also go back to our local league. How many teams more? How many more tries have we had just in the past season? I guess Kawowo has those stats. Now back to the real question, are you ready to defend the mall? Yes, we're ready to defend the mall, we're ready to defend any line breaks, we're ready to defend the scrums. Whichever way the opponent wants to penetrate through, we're ready to defend.
Back to my friends who are also on the plane this past month. Are there any key lessons that you guys picked up? And I mean at the tournaments, not at the airport. Starting with you, Norbert.
Yeah, I think one thing that playing in some of these tournaments give you is a lot of lessons, and you learn how to attack on a set piece. You learn how, because some of the mistakes that we make on pitch are the same all over, and as a player you learn how to play within the means or the tools that you have at that given moment. You learn how to manipulate when it comes to the set pieces and all that, and I believe most of the guys have learned a lot, and you will see a different execution when it comes to the national sevens itself. Same, I believe, when it goes to the 15s games that we are going to watch, it's going to be a different ball game compared to what we have been used to. Yeah.
As for you, Dorcas, there are some lessons that the girls have picked up along the way, having been to 2 tours, and now they are back home. But there are some lessons that they have picked that they are going to implement at their clubs.
Yes, there's always lessons you're going to pick from international games. Maybe the biggest lesson we have learned as a team, and I think this is majorly in technical for coaches, has we've understood that a team is only as strong as they are conditioned. And so one of the things we've noted is to come back and work more on our conditioning. Because looking at the last tournament we played, Uganda had the least ball handling errors overall. We ranked second to South Africa when it came to tackles and all of that. So generally, when it comes to set piece execution, Uganda was good. So now it comes back to conditioning, because once a player has it mentally that their body will not betray them, the aggression with which they execute their performance is different. It's stronger, it's more prominent, it's more effective. So now back to the drawing board, what we want to focus on more is conditioning, making the players physically better so that their mental is also better. Otherwise, when it comes to set pieces and whatnot, the statistics are there to show for it. Uganda did quite well, impressively well, having the least ball handling errors in both tournaments, actually, not just the last one, both tournaments. So Uganda did, when it comes to set pieces, we're doing, I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, we're at 7, yeah? So we have to clean up on the 3, but then majorly to work on conditioning, because that's something that's also going to jump the mental hurdles, because the players now trust their bodies better to execute their work better.
All right. Thank you very much, Dorcas. And this is a question that is directed to both you, Norbert, and obviously TM Kimeze. Norbert, first of all, you are a player that is incredible, obviously, but you haven't got the opportunity yet to play for the national 15s team. Despite having a call-up right before the codes were split, then you went with the sevens squad, but you have your brother Ivan Otema within that squad, and I think you are a like-for-like winger like him. What are some of the words you'd say to Otema, who has been out of the national team for all this while, come back, recovered from his injury, and he's now back in the squad? What are some of the kind words that you'd send to him?
I think it's good to see him back, and the most important thing now is the belief. As a person, he has to believe he has the ability, he has to believe that he can take the ball forward, he has to believe that he can do anything, and then the rest will be easy to do. Because with the belief, execution becomes easy. With the belief, the confidence is there in the system. So I believe he's taken his time. He has worked hard to see that he gets there, despite a setback with the injury and all that. And it's good to see that he has gotten that chance. And to me, I believe this is a tournament where he has to make them know his name. He has to make them remember why he's there. He has to give them a reason why he's there. He's going to definitely be meeting some of the guys he played with and he played against back in high school. And yes, it's a chance to prove to them and to show them the kind of player that he is. And hopefully gets that chance and he shows up.
Now to you, Kimeze, my question to you is, and kindly answer as the national team TM. Do not answer as the Pirates team TM. Is Norbert Okeny one of the players you'd like to see on your team in some future?
Of course.
What are some of the things that he brings on the table
Pirates.
that you mentioned all the teams, he mentioned all the teams he had played for, and you're asking where that revolution will take him. But what are some of those things that you've watched Okeny for all these years? What are some of those things that he brings to the table that you feel like he can add to any team in Ugandan rugby or even on the international stage?
Yeah, of course, any team, both local and international, would want a power runner, which he is. He's good with the high ball, and his defense is good. You get? And he knows how to hold his lines. If I'm to make reference, maybe you remember the try he scored against VU in the quarterfinal. Of course, VU was trying to put up a fight, and he just splits their lines just in the middle. So wouldn't want a winger who can score on the wings and also in the middle. So of course, even at the national team, would have been glad to have him, because he has had a few runs with the boys, but the sevens had to go and take action, and so we really missed him.
We needed our strongest soldiers.
But maybe someday me and him will be on the same team.
Oh yeah, you talk about that try that he scored against VU. Personally, I'm not exactly happy that the person who gave him the assist on that occasion isn't in that team, but we shall not mention names here. Dorcas, are you going to be the TM for the sevens for Black Pearls?
No.
Oh yeah, we are definitely going to miss you on the circuit. But
I'm going back to chess Kimeze.
I'm also ready to go and rest in the sevens.
Hey, you're also going to rest.
I'm going back to chess Kimeze.
So it looks like the only people that shall be occupied during the sevens are me and Okeny. So if at all my producer can just cut out the rest. You guys can go back home now. So for us, let us continue. Of course, for the local sevens, they are coming up very soon, right after the Rugby Africa Cup. And, you talked about the targets that you set earlier on, but now we want to talk about, the elephant in the room. You guys have the best sevens coach, ideally. You have the 4-time African champion as a coach, Norbert Onyango. What are some of those things that you think that Coach Tolly, as a person and as a coach, he's going to add to Heathens?
I think a person like Tolly, the personality and the achievements speak for themselves. And as a team, you need a coach who players will believe in, and he brings in the experience from coaching the national sevens team for all the years. He's been part of the coaches who have been running Chadonda Academy for some of the years back. So these are players who are not going to be new to the coach. They have already interacted with him in many different positions already. And the first test will definitely be the Gorilla Sevens, to see how well the team has gelled in, to see that because it's definitely going to be a different system, a different setup. Players will definitely have to adapt to probably a new playing style, something like that, and it's good to have somebody like him to help guide the new talents that will probably be of greater use to the nation and the team in the near future.
All right, that's incredible. Of course, we have been here talking about the Rugby Africa Cup here and there, and we have been throwing names around. But for our viewers at home who don't know who some of those players are in that, the 28-man squad that was summoned by Kapa Kimeze's bosses, these are some of the players that we have in that squad. Of course, starting with the hookers, then down to the
Kimeze
props.
is the boss.
Kimeze, you're their boss.
Yeah.
That's why you kept quiet.
Kimeze is the boss.
So Kimeze is boss Wabazum. But my producer, if we could start from there, these are our forwards. Of course, those are the hookers. That is Nathan and Edward Demiemo. But for some of the notable...
Jose, read all the three names. People were shocked. The country is shocked that people have many names.
Wambali, Nathan, Asimiri. They have left out Gongodio's other name, but
give it to you.
yeah, but of course there is also Santos Senteza. There is a debutant in Blair Ayivazibwe. There is Sol Chivumbi, Collins Chimboa. There is another debutant, Fad Maido from the Ginger Hippos. This would have been a Ginger Hippos trio if at all our friends in Boyoge played nice. But that is Fad Maido, Ginger Hippos, Emongelifas Pirates, Opio Julius, Ginger Hippos. Of course, there is also Sydney Gongodio.
Javi.
And
Sydney Gongodio, Javi.
Javi. That is the man from the hills. Sydney Gongodio, Javi, Brian Wandeda from the Rams.
Mr. 50 million.
Yeah, that one. He's worth 50 million, by the way. And of course, the captains and vice captains, that is Byron and Frank. And then we have our eighth men, and sometimes Frank, Pius, Ayera, and Aturinda, who Obi. Yeah, Obi Aturinda from the Sevens camp.
Yes.
Then, of course, we have Chimeze's best friend, who also claims to have another best friend, Isaac Masanganzira, Isaac Newton.
Is Isaac Newton Masanganzira Chitio.
Chitio. Oh, Chitio.
How come he skipped all the passport names? What is it called passport?
And they couldn't
Does it
fit.
jack?
Zaka passport is small.
And of course, the badman himself, Philip Okoracha and Ivan Otema. We also have Shakim Sembosi. He will also be there. And of course, Timothy Chisiga and Vice Captain Wanyama. There is Badman Aaron of Oiroth, Casito Adrian of France. We have Joseph Arido Jadwonga, Liam Walker. Liam Walker is called Christopher.
It's called Christopher.
Christopher is such a Ugandan name.
Like
you guys are
you told him there's no baby called Christopher.
And William Kore and Munyani Ian Arnold. So those are the brave 28 men that will be representing the Ugandan contingent at the Rugby Africa Cup.
So
Then of course we have the special management that is in charge of this this whole team. And I'm going to begin from the bottom because I want to read someone's name last. There is Kawalega Adam Logistics. There is the team doctor. That is Sulaiman. We have a consultant coach, Zen Kishna, who is the kicking coach for the backs. We have the physio, that is Kayongo Noah. We have the consultant high performance coach, that is Johannes. We have the S&C coach, that is Coach Timo Mudola, and of course his brother, the head coach, Fred Mudola. We have the assistant coaches, that is Leo Lubambola and Mavo Odong. He's called Harold. Wow.
Marvin Harold.
Marvin Harold.
Union
Dong.
yachitukoze bannaye. All
Was such
names
a
are
lovely
Did you even know that Sula is called Bugosera?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Sula has been there.
I had no idea what it was in full. I just knew it was B.
Just knew it was Sula B. And of course, the TM, that is Iko, Charles Andrew,
And his
and
deputy.
then his deputy, the man himself. If you could help me with that name.
Government yagataddewo gonna. Kapalaga Isaac Kimeze. I was also shocked. I was like, who's this?
So, of course, that is the management that is going to be
let
taking
me
charge.
first pose you, Joseph.
Yes, please.
My colleagues at campus, we had a discussion group. So many messages have been coming in and I was not paying attention. So today I opened the group chat and some guy sent the squad and they're like, Kumbe Kimeze is actually an assistant manager in Uganda Rugby Union. So other people replied, so you thought the man is always joking, what did you think? So some chaps there don't rate me, but I think I'll cut this out. Emmanuel Okia, yes, I'm the assistant team manager and I'm going to be appearing on your screens very soon. I'm going to talk to the producer to produce this early and you play it on your 50-inch. So continue.
So that is all the proof you need to know that here at Kawowo Sports we obviously host the best, and I'm happy to be in the company of the very best. Those are the 28 men that will be representing Uganda, and that was the team management. The Rugby Africa Cup begins next week on Tuesday, then we play again on Sunday, then we play again on Saturday. So that is enough time for the players to rest. That is enough time for your bodies to rest if at all you indulge. And of course also for your pockets to rest. For those that abafuna daily. That's also your time to save a little bit and come back again and spend once again your hard-earned money on this sport that we all love. But as we conclude this conversation,
before we conclude, we're still waiting for Joseph Mann's breakdown of how to spend the budget. Because as Bamufuna Mpola will depend on Jose's budgeting, but
yeah, that budget is coming very soon. Let us look out for it.
Just know his budget has, you should have bought an early bird ticket of 10K.
It has a train to Nambo.
You have to take a taxi of 1.5 to town from Ruzira, then you take a train of 1,000.
And you have to have utilized the flash sale.
But we are going to begin with Norbert. What is your last message? A general message?
I think it's a word to the fans there. Let's turn up and cheer the boys. Let's get behind them. With you behind the boys, I believe the boys need that extra push to give them a boost, morale and confidence. So let's get there, let's support the boys, let's cheer for them out loud. My greetings to Miss O. You're not Jolly.
Well done.
Holy Guayolitia. You've given me an assignment.
Who are you going to
Mrs.
put later?
Captain. Let us first finish with you. Dorcas, what is your last message for the rugby fans out there and Ugandans at large?
Mine are two. One is to the Lady Cranes. I am very proud of you this year. You have done something that you haven't done in the years before. Yeah, this has been an outstanding year. So I am very proud to the Lady Cranes this year. And then my second message is to the fans. To the fans, I call upon each and every one of you of the rugby fraternity to come and we support the boys in Nambole. This is a very big battle they are heading into. They need us there in numbers to be with them and support them. We start off on the 8th of July. It's a Tuesday. Please put in those leave applications in advance. The boys need us.
Start coughing now.
Yeah, start coughing now so that when you tell the boss sick leave, he's not surprised. But yes, the boys need us. Let's rally behind them.
Thank you very much, Dorcas. And Kappa, any last words?
I have a lot of last words. I have a list. I have my people very no to me now, but to start with, I would like to thank the Almighty for bringing us this far through the preparations. It's been tough. And then I know it's not a political show, but I would like to thank all the stakeholders involved. To list is to limit, but just last month, the three of us here are all from 3 different departments or sectors of Uganda Rugby, and 3 teams were out of the country. It's not an easy feat to do, but the stakeholders involved have done it. I would also like to thank all the media houses in play who have been broadcasting and producing the rugby message and gospel. Thank you very much, Kawowo, Wowos, for inviting us and having this. The next big stakeholders I would like to thank are the Uganda rugby players. They said there are 3 million. Thank you very much, you all. Cause of you, we are here. And now to the 28 plus 11 who are in camp, I thank you for braving the journey with us. Let's push a little bit harder. Our wars are starting next week, and I have all the trust with the team because we have been doing a lot of 6 a.m. clubs with the team. I leave my house at around 5 a.m. I get back around midnight. So I'm going to negotiate with my landlord on the rent I'm paying. But all this time I'm spending it with the rugby boys. And to the Uganda rugby lovers out there, rugby fans, please come in large numbers. Let's support the boys. Let's rally with the boys. The boys need you. I don't know if people appreciate how good it feels when you're on pitch and you hear fans in the background shouting, let's go UG, let's go. Of course, that extra push, it means a lot. Let's put all the small talk, banter, chit-chat aside. Let's come and support Uganda. This is the Rugby Africa Cup happening in Kampala. For the non-rugby fans out there, or let me say the football fans, what I can say is the equivalent of AFCON being played in Uganda. Yeah, so ngezaako okubayita mwenna basebo ne bannyabo abawagizi baffe mujje mubeererewo team mujje tubeewo wali enambole ku kisaawe kyaffe kyennyini mu nsi yaffe eno mu kibuga kyaffe Kampala kye tweyagaliramu mujje kinoomu mujje bangi mujje mwenna ekyalo mukireete mujje muwagira abasajja bakoze bababeereddewo namwe mujje mubabeererewo kyemanyi wiiki ejja Tuesday olunaku olunaggwerera tujaba mu kujaguza era buno bukripu kyemanyi bujja kuyitaayita naye nga abaana bakoze kye basobola era bakyakola n'abatendesi bonna bakoze kati nga wamu ne Mukama Katonda waffe obwangusi tugenda buleeta ate tujja kukoma ku game ya Tuesday tugenda kulwana paka Saturday eri nga 19 tournament weggwera. So timu njiwataddemu obwesigwa bagenda kukola nnyo kati akasembayo njagala ntumire abasajja bange eri boyogerere kakajjo ku rugby chirawe ako chiru mu matira nnyo n'abalala bonna ababoys bemanyi Okeny alina byatumidde abali special nange baby girl gyali naye sijja mwogera linnya omanyi
abantu
just give us on
abantu baloko bajja ku but yeah, my small family, yeah, big up. So, abasigadde mwena bombo clat.
Man, it must be a party down there in the Ugandan Cup. I'm very sure that there is no dull moment there. Of course, Kapa Kimeze is down there and Bajo.
Of course, we also have Adam Kawalega, 129 kgs.
129 kgs.
Our full-time comedian.
In charge of logistics brings the fun to the party. Yes, you've heard it from this beautiful panel, magnificent panel. I've been with Dorcas Mundua, I've been with Kapa Kimeze, I've been with Norbert Okeny. We have had very many conversations from the Rugby 7s to the Rugby 15s and of course to the Rugby Africa Cup that is going to happen at Nambole. And from all of us here at Kawowo Sports, me personally, maybe I can just say hi to Jerem. Hi to Jerem and Amos and Mona, and that's a good night from us and it's
why if you are no posting a birthday yomuntu nesonja bakuddamu
3 years down the road my happy birthday is still floating on the internet
so tidde okutumire ze maybe kankwesa okusagulo ntumire mu sport ya Jose ntumire aba producer wano ba producer bakabi. Big up to yourselves. Awadde batugambye obudde nze omutantaiminga nze obutava kazindaalo but thank you very much people, thank you for giving us your time. Gwanga mujje muna mujje tubeyo tuwagire abazanyi baffe mujje tuwagire timu y'eggwanga ngeri mu nsiike mu Rugby Africa Cup era nga tubasuubiza tukoze nga bwe tusobola era tugenda kwongeramu amaanyi okudefendinga obutaka mulirwana ajja tuwuliramu weewaawo ebyange leero
Amina.
You know it is serious when she switches the language. Say, ah?